Good morning. Happy Flossmas Day 2. Okay, I'm using the Tiny Decision app and trying to figure out which of my projects, 31 projects, including some free days and some alternative crafting days, I'm going to work on today on day 2. So let's have a look. Cats, bats, and pumpkins. I need to find that. It's in my last year organized pile of projects, and then we'll work on it later today. See you soon. Bye. Good morning, Floss Tube. It is very early here this morning. Normally at this hour of the morning I would be out walking the dog, but I'm not this morning because I'm still not quite feeling up to that right now. Hopefully I will a little bit later in the day. So as you saw, I used my Tiny Decisions app and drew for a project this morning. The project that I chose is cats, bats, and pumpkins, and I'll insert a picture here on how that's going to on my start, which is not very, here's my start. So I didn't get very far last year, but that's okay. This is one that I can pull out all year long and get finished. Hopefully you can't see the pattern here. I'll move that over here a little bit further. And I'm going to get started and chat with you for a bit. Once I figure out where I am. So as you can see, I normally stitch in hand. Here, let's fold this so then you can't see much of the I'll fold this so you can't see much of the pattern, and I can get a little bit closer to it so I can talk and stitch at the same time. I know it looks like that this flame is pretty close to the fabric, but it's not actually. Okay, I figured out where I am. So how is Flossmas treating everybody? I had a lot of fun yesterday compiling my little vignettes for the Flossmas vlog. I apologize for not doing a kind of final summary. I don't know if I'll do that every Flossmas episode or not, but after we got back from my husband's work, the movie fun, I was running a fever, so I went right to bed. And after I edited and posted the video, so I didn't get a chance to come back and visit face to face, but I'm here now. I am feeling much better. After a good night's sleep. So I'm hoping that is the theme of the day, feeling better. I'm speaking kind of subdued because everybody else is asleep. It's only about 20 after 6 in the morning. I get up between 5 and 5:30 with Blue. He sleeps in the crate during the night, and he can only last till about just after 5. And normally, like I said, I get up and immediately take him for a walk, but that's not quite yet to be this morning because I still have quite a bad cough, and it's quite crisp outside, and I'm afraid that's going to really set me off. Drinking some David's tea this morning. Read My Lips is my favorite David's tea mix. This Flossmas is not sponsored by David's tea. And I did a working copy of my patterns, so I am highlighting as I go. Because I find when I restart a project that I have not been working on in a while, I find it difficult to figure out where I am and to kind of get a flow back again. So I've got some fun plans for Flossmas this year. Really looking forward to when the Tiny Decisions app pulls making candles. I am going to use a tutorial from a knitting podcast that I know. The name of the podcast is not coming to me, but I'll let you know in that vlog which one I'm using. It's a really nice podcast that I watch, and I don't know why the name is escaping me, but it is. Anyway, I have all the ingredients to make candles and have had for quite a while. Quite a while means well over a year, and still haven't made them. So I decided I would put that in my Tiny Decisions app. Also going to be doing some Christmas baking, some baking for the family, and some baking for gifts. I have teacher gifts to get out. Not sure what I'm doing for teacher gifts this year, so if anybody has ideas for teacher gifts, please let me know. I try not to do gift cards. I like to do something handmade, so I need to get started on something soon. And past experience has shown me that I don't have time to knit anything. Maybe crochet, but certainly not knit. I might have time to knit for Christmas, but not for teacher gifts. And the boys get out the 20th of December this year. So I'm coming down the side of my pumpkin. I use a mix of, usually I use the sewing method, but I noticed this morning I'm using a mix of the stab and sew method, and that's because I'm a bit tired. I learned how to, so the difference, the sewing method is, actually I'll show you. Let me get some more floss. I'm sure a lot of you folks who cross stitch regularly know what it is, but for anybody who's new, I'll show you the difference between stabbing and sewing. Now, I need to check my floss color here. $7.20. Okay. I'm a bit surprised that I haven't had a cat get up on the table. They're not allowed on the table, but that hasn't stopped them. So I'm surprised that they're not up for a visit, considering I'm sitting here talking to myself. Maybe they prefer it when I'm over at the couch. Blue is over on the couch sleeping soundly after he's been out to do his business outside. Overall, he's a really good dog. That doesn't mean he doesn't have a few annoying issues, but we're learning to cope. The biggest issue is he has separation anxiety. So he is crated when we leave the house, which I'm home most of the time, so he's not crated often, but he is crated during the week at times. He's fine at night in his crate. He enjoys his crate to sleep. No issues there. However, he does not enjoy being in the crate during the day, and he barks. Now, we live in a single, what's it called? Anyway, it's one house. It's not joined on with anybody else, and we don't have renters. So that's not really a big deal, but I just feel bad for him because he barks. Whether I'm gone 15 minutes or 2 hours, he barks the whole time. So I always feel so bad for him. So yesterday I got him, not yet, the day before yesterday I bought him, okay, I was going to show you how to do this. So I've pulled up, this is the sewing method is when you pick up your strands. So you've got your needle, no, this is not a very good way of showing you. So you've got your needle under two, well in this case 2 threads. Pull that through, and then the stab is just to go up and down like that. So sewing method again, that's the stab. Sewing method again is to go under, oh, you're probably not able to see that. So I've just gone under 2 threads. Hopefully you can see that. I don't even know if you could hear me because I wasn't near the microphone. So stabbing, sewing is going under 1 or 2 threads, depending if you're stitching over 1 or over 2. I'm stitching over 2 threads right now. So right now I'm sewing, and stabbing is just like this, up and down. One, two, three, 4, 5. And that, my friends, is why it's called counted cross stitch. So I do generally use the sewing method because I find it faster. And I love my cross stitch, but cross stitch is not the fastest pastime in the world in terms of if you ever want a finished project. And I do occasionally, I'm probably more a project finish stitcher than I am knitter. I'm definitely a process knitter. I knit for the love of knitting. It doesn't matter if I get, which is why I have so many whips, I think. It doesn't matter if I get a project at the end of the day or not. I just really enjoy knitting. Just the process of the needles and the yarn going over my fingers. Cross stitch, I definitely enjoy the process because I don't finish things very often either. But I must say I'm a bit more project finish. What's the word? Motivated than I am with knitting. There we go. Try not to show you too much of my hair because I'm vain. I haven't had a shower yet. And I don't want to show you my bed head because yes, I am stitching this morning with bed head and floss. I do love these peaceful mornings. I get up, if I'm not baking this morning. I usually bake in the mornings before the kids go off to school, but I'm not this morning. My lovely husband did some baking yesterday, so if they want any for their lunches, then they can, he actually made a cheesecake yesterday. My husband was away for my birthday on the 17th of November, and he's been trying to get a cheesecake made ever since he got back to treat me because he wasn't here for my birthday to make it. Okay. 1, 2. So I'm just going to stitch for a couple more minutes here, and then I need to go get a shower and start the day. I am up too early yet to get a weather report. It's around, I don't really know what time it is actually. 6:30, 6:40 according to the clock, and it is still very much dark out. So no weather report yet this morning. Now my photocopy is not great for the next section. So I'm just going to move the microphone and actually check. There it is. Nope. I'm almost finished this section. This color, I should say. Oops, I already have two. That's all I need, isn't it? Yeah. And then two. So now I'm going to end my thread, and then I'm going to pick up again in another section where this color is needed. Do some color blocks on this one today. I didn't mention I'm working on 28 count Monaco, white Monaco. That has not been dyed or anything. It's just white. I often, oops, sorry about that. I often stitch on tea and coffee dyed Monaco, and the holes do shrink a bit when you do that, when you tea and coffee dye it. So I'm finding this morning quite pleasant using the Monaco with the non-shrunk holes. I'm at that age where I'm finding it harder to see, even though I have bifocals now. Oops, something done wrong there. Yeah. Went 2/1 instead of 2/2. I am a thread licker, but I usually trim my thread when I take it out, so it's easier to thread my needle. And I think that's all I'm going to do for right now. Like I said, I need to go have a shower. I just did that wrong again. Let's fix that so I'm ready to go when I work on this later this morning or today. So I like the idea of doing these projects as a surprise every day, because you never know. It's like a box of chocolates, life. Anybody's watched Forrest Gump, you never know what you're going to get. And I like that, because all my projects are all organized from last year. And I had finished, well, I have stitched 5 projects from last year, but they're not all FFO'd, so I'm going to do that, a little bit of fully finishing, and you'll see that. I may have to wait until, what have I done? May have to wait till I get my sewing machine back for a couple of them if I want to make them into pillows. There we go. Getting tangly this morning. Here we go. Gotten it right. What am I doing? There we go. And then get set up for the next stitch. I'm going to put it down, mark off what I've done. Perfect. It's been great visiting with you, and I will see you later today. Bye. Hello everybody, it's me Patty. I'm back again for Flossmas Day 2. I am so excited that it's Flossmas Day 2. I'm also excited that I'm starting to feel better, which is wonderful. If you hear the clicking of nails, Blue is not sure what I'm doing. This is only the second time I've really sat down and taped since we've had him. So I mentioned yesterday, because the boys were home, that Blue was a foster dog, and indeed we have been fostering him since the end of October. However, we decided that we would keep Blue. But the boys, the oldest one kind of knows that we're keeping him because one of his teachers is actually a volunteer at Beagle Paws where we got Blue, and she accidentally let it slip because I had posted on social media that we'd adopted him because I was getting a lot of requests of interest in adoption for him. So she naturally assumed that Blue was available, that we had adopted and that it was open knowledge. And then when our eldest son didn't seem to know what she was talking about, she felt really bad. But anyway, I told her it was no problem. So he kind of knows. I say kind of because I didn't say absolutely yes. I kind of said, we may start barking actually. I just kind of said, shush, we'll talk about it later, and we haven't talked about it since. So anyway, Blue is here to stay. He's a really neat dog. He does have a couple issues. I mean, he is a rescue. He was owned. He is a rescue, but he was an owner surrender, so he had a good home before he came with us. He has a lot of really good habits. His manners are pretty good. He needs some work with his jumping. He jumps up a lot, and I have a lot of bruises on my arms and legs as a result of that, unfortunately. He's only 33 pounds, so he's not very heavy, but he does have claws. And sometimes those hurt when he jumps up. He jumps up when he's excited, or he's trying to say hello, or he wants some attention, or sometimes when there's food involved. So we are trying to train him away from that. He also has separation anxiety, and that's a little bit more stressful in the sense that, sorry, I keep checking on him, is a little bit more stressful because he is crate trained. However, I don't know how he was crate trained in the past. He's fine. He sleeps in his crate at night and there's no issues. Around between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, he starts barking to get out, and that's usually when we go for our morning walks, though I haven't for the past few mornings because I've been sick. But we'll start that again tomorrow or the next day, or soon anyway. But during the day when he's crated, if I'm out, I'm not out much. I am home most of the time. But when I'm out, he is barking and salivating, and he's really, really anxious when we're away. So that's unfortunate. I'm not sure how we're going to get over that with him. We'll just keep working through it. He's not neutered yet. He's 10 years old, and Beagle Paws's policy is to neuter and spay all of their animals that come through there. He's had a bit of a cough that the veterinarian figures or thinks is bronchitis. So he's on a steroid, he's been on a steroid treatment for that, and his coughing has definitely decreased. So I imagine he'll be getting neutered fairly soon. I'm hoping that that might help him be a bit calmer when it comes to the crate when we're away, but I have no idea. I don't, the dog that we had, that my husband and I had, which was one of my main, or my only experience with owning my own dog that wasn't a family dog when I was growing up, was that she was spayed very, very young, and she was female, so I don't know if that makes a difference when dogs are spayed or neutered at a younger age. And I don't know if it causes behavioral changes or not, so I'm really not aware of any of that. The veterinarian did say that his barking may decrease, so I'm hoping that means, and his barking at home, he's quiet as a mouse. He barks, he barks if he sees another dog. He doesn't even bark if when the doorbell rings. He's really good, and really, he's quiet, which I appreciate, because I would find a dog barking incessantly all the time very difficult to cope with. But no, he is quiet at home. When we go out, he's not. Yesterday at the Santa Claus parade, he was barking his head off, and I ended up taking the volume off of the Santa Claus parade. The music and such was difficult to hear because he was barking, because he saw another dog that he wanted to say hello to, and the other humans didn't seem inclined to introduce the dog, so of course I didn't. And he barked his head off because he wasn't happy about that. He's really good with other dogs. He's excellent with people. But of course, not every dog is able to be friendly with other dogs. So I certainly appreciate and respect that with other owners. So anyway, he at home is quiet except when he's in his crate, when he's crated during the day. And we don't, like I said, we don't leave him for long, long periods. But he does, as soon as you put him in, I throw a couple of little treats in there with him. He eats his treats, and then he starts barking. And it doesn't matter if I'm gone 20 minutes or 2 hours, he is still barking when I get home. So, and he's after drooling all over the inside of the crate, and yeah, he's pretty unhappy. So we're hoping that that's going to calm down. But we've only had him a little over a month, so I imagine it will. So this was not supposed to be all about Blue. It's become all about Blue. It's supposed to be about Flossmas. And one thing I should have explained yesterday was a little bit about the history of Flossmas and what it means. So Flossmas is a term that was coined by Heidi Cran, who is a friend of Caroline, and a friend of mine actually, because Heidi and I have met in person at a retreat in Ontario last year. Hi Heidi, and of course, hello Caroline. Heidi has the Floss Tube channel, Stitching 1/2. And she had coined the term, mentioned it to Caroline, and thought that she wasn't going to do anything with it. But because knitters, in the knitting community, the podcasters have a term called Vlogmas, which is very similar in terms of time frame, that during the month of December you do a vlog every day. She thought there should be one for the Floss Tube community. Oh, Blue is here, so there might be a little bit of jiggling. And it should be called Flossmas. So Caroline last year ran with that, and last year her plan and mine was to start a new ornament. Oh, sorry about that. Blue, you gotta stop. Was to start a new, no hun, no, was to start a new ornament every day, and then through the month of December. So this year we're doing something similar in the sense, and we also raise money for charity. Last year it was for Beagle Paws, which is the same organization that we adopted Blue through. This year it's going to go to Muscular Dystrophy Canada. We've already had over 77 sales of the ornament that I designed. Thank you so much. That's wonderful, because of course 50% of the profits of the sale of all of those Flossmas ornaments, plus what I top up, what doesn't go towards Etsy fees and such, will go back to Muscular Dystrophy Canada. So that's 77 already, and it has barely been out for 24 hours, so that's just wonderful. I'm so pleased that it's being very well received and that people like the pattern, because when you design something, it is a bit, it's a little scary to put your pattern out there in the world and see if people like it or not, so I'm thrilled that people seem to like it. So Flossmas, like I said, it was it's a time. It's not a denominational time period. It's a celebration in the winter, in the month of December, to celebrate what you want to celebrate. So it could be the celebration of the longer, darker hours. So at least for me, that usually means I get a bit more crafting time in, because I like to sit and be cozy in front of the fire and knit or crochet or cross stitch. Or sew, and any of the myriad crafty things that I like to get up to. It also means for me home and coziness. It does in our house mean preparing for Christmas, but it also means being mindful of our family and friends, of a time to thank them and be with them, and to really appreciate how lucky we are to have so many fantastic friends around, and we're so lucky to have so many close family members, or at least on my side of the family, unfortunately not my husband's, but on my side of the family, that live so close to us. So we're very mindful and appreciative of that as well. So that's, I guess, more, Flossmas is it's more a spirit of Flossmas. It's more a time to reflect and a time to concentrate on what makes you happy. And for me, that is going to come into making sure that I do some quality me time, which is something crafty every single day. So this morning I already have on the video what I pulled on my Flossmas Tiny Decisions app, so that you've already seen. I have been cross-stitching a little bit because I had mentioned yesterday, and thank you for all the well wishes, I have not been feeling very well, and I am on the mend for sure, but I still am getting achy at times, so I'm taking Tylenol regularly. And if I'm not careful about taking another Tylenol before the last one wears off, I get quite achy, which instead of kind of groaning and lying down, I guess I could lie down, that wouldn't be a bad thing, getting lots to rest. But I am resting by sitting and doing some stitching on that piece, so I look forward to showing you whatever I come up with or whatever progress I make tomorrow. That's all I want to talk about now, because this is on over 10 minutes. And in addition to the other video footage that I took earlier today, this is going to be a fairly lengthy Flossmas Day 2. But I feel that I'm a little overdue, because I don't feel I did a great job yesterday getting a really quality Flossmas video out. I got a Flossmas video out, and that was about it. So thank you so much for your kind words about yesterday's episode and about the upcoming month. I hope that you'll join me. I really look forward to your comments. There will be more prizes drawn. Besides yesterday, I will have some Flossmas draws as well, and some yarn, I have a project bag, all kinds of goodies that I'll be looking at giving away this month. So stay tuned. Thanks again so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye!